What is up, everybody? It's Rolling Dirty coming back at you with another video. My last video you saw me just tool around real quickly on the Extreme. It was raining, so I didn't make it long, and I didn't really get enough opportunity to ride it to provide any meaningful feedback on what my thoughts are regarding this wheel. So the Begode Extreme is an interesting wheel because it's the first wheel that I've been able to ride without making any changes to it. I mean, when I mean ride comfortably. That being said, there are some changes I'd like to make and will make, but let me just, it can't be overstated to state that there's a few things going on with this wheel that are great right out of the box. One, pedals. The pedals are awesome. I know they've had some reviews about being weaker during crashes than what some people want them to be. That's entirely possible. There is less metal on them, but as far as comfort is concerned, they're very comfortable. And I like that they provide an opportunity for a wider stance, and I'll explain why here in just a minute. The other thing about this wheel that is great is that the side pads come affixed to the battery boxes. And when I mean affixed, they're screwed in. And it's really firm, a really firm foam material. So that's good in the event that you lay the wheel down or get in an accident. It will protect the wheel to some extent, specifically the batteries. The other thing I really like about it is that it does come with a functional seat. I'm not convinced it's the most comfortable seat, but it is functional. And to be honest, I'm 6'1", and when I sit down on this, I'm comfortable. I have ridden it seated just for a little bit. Honestly, it's the first wheel I've ever sat down and ridden seated, but it was really easy to learn on this wheel. It took me like 10 minutes. That being said, I prefer to stand in almost every circumstance, so you probably won't see me sitting much, but I do see the merits to being able to ride seated, and I do think it's worth learning how to do. This particular wheel I found was very easy to ride seated because the seat's pretty wide, and the pedal to seat ratio as far as height is concerned is high enough for somebody my height to be comfortable on it. Something that I've heard other people talk about is the handle up front. It's a little bit high. I'd agree with them. In the event that you get in a wreck or something like that, you can see right where that's going, right into the side of your knee. So I'm not sure I think that was a good choice, but I do like it from a design perspective. It looks nice. I just think I'd prefer it a little bit lower just for safety. The headlight. The headlight is fantastic. You know, you compare this to the headlight on the Commander Pro, and it's, you know, I know this is cliche, but it's literally night and day. The Commander Pro has got a headlight, if you can call it that. This one actually works really well for a factory headlight. Better than the Sherman-Max. Better than the Begode RS. Better than I don't know if it's better than the V12 high torque, but it's no worse. I actually like it, and so I give props for the headlight to Begode on this. I wish they would use it on all their wheels. Master Pro, and I just think it's a good headlight right out of the box. So from a comfort perspective, this has got a lot going for it. The air shock is quite nice. I haven't had to pump it back up yet. It's been a few days since I pumped it, but it's been holding pressure okay. It's very comfortable. It's a different experience than, you know, what comes on the Commander Pro for suspension, but it's nice. It's a nice suspension, and I do like the travel on it is really good. So all in all, I'm very pleased with the comfort of the wheel. From a performance perspective, I have not pushed it. You know, I go maybe 30, 33 miles an hour here on it, but I'm not real comfortable pushing it with these side pads. And I mentioned they're firm. They are firm, and if you aren't wearing some kind of like knee pads that have extension that go down your leg, when you push on that foam with your shins, it's not comfortable. So although I understand the aesthetic that they were going for, this is kind of Begode aesthetic that they're aiming for when they put these pads on here, and I appreciate that they screwed them down as opposed to using adhesive. I still don't think they're good enough to be really comfortable riding regularly. If you don't ride with knee pads, it's gonna bruise your leg, I think. It's certainly the way it feels for me. That being said, these do come off, and this is one thing I'm gonna end up doing. I'll end up removing those and replacing them with probably E-Rides pads. There are other pads that are fine as well. I mean, don't get me wrong. I just have E-Rides pads, and they're comfortable. It's what I'm used to. In order to mount them to my liking, I'll probably need a fairing system. I've already ordered that, so when that arrives in, you know, 2 months, whatever it's going to take for it to be built and mailed, then I'll install those and see how it goes. Something I mentioned in my last video is I'm not real happy with how close the tire is to the fender, the inner fender. I mean, it's very close. If you pump this tire up, it's very close to that fender. And during this ride, and I think you'll see it coming up here in a little bit, I don't know what gets stuck up in there, but something gets stuck up in there, and it sounds like I'm machining metal. You know, like it's just shaving metal off. You can hear there's something in there right now. And I'm not sure what that is. So, I can't see it in the tire. And, anyway, it just hear that? Yeah, it doesn't sound right with whatever's in there. So I would say that I think Begode, although having a close fender is good, could have accounted for people running the tire at the labeled PSI limit and engineered that fender a little bit better. Yeah, I'd really like to know what's going on down there. I didn't find anything at all. And here in just a minute, you're going to hear it get a lot worse when I push down on the suspension. That's where it really starts to sound like I'm shaving metal off somewhere. Yeah, I can still hear that down there. You might be able to hear that too. Kind of a cyclical rubbing sound. At this point, I think I just assumed it was a piece of gravel stuck in the tread of the tire going through there. I'm not convinced that that's what it was, though. I think it might have been something stuck somewhere else. Like, what the heck was that? You know, I don't know. Yeah, so I'm kind of confused about that. I rolled it back a little bit, and there's these shavings here on the ground. I don't know what they are. Look like paint. So maybe a rock or a piece of gravel got stuck up in there on the side. I don't know. Either way, I think that fender's too close. See, now it's not making that sound anymore, so like whatever it was came free. Anyway, so that's one concern I have with it. It's not a huge one, but it's something that an engineer should have caught beforehand. I mean, there's merit to having a close fender, but with a tire like this, you gotta know it's gonna pick up rocks, and if they're gonna get jammed up in there, it's gonna cause issues. Now I'm running this tire at 45 psi, and to me it feels a little wobbly. Maybe I'm just not used to it, because it's super nimble when pumped up that high, which I like. It reminds me a lot of the V12, even though this is a larger tire. V12 is only a 16-inch tire. This is an 18-inch tire. But it feels a lot like the V12 in its nimbleness, which I think is a huge plus. That being said, for higher speeds, which the C40 motor is capable of delivering, even with an 18-inch tire, I think that might be a little sketchy feeling. I'll let you know when I get the side pads on and I hit 40 miles an hour on it. Or more. I regularly do over 40 miles an hour on my Commander Pro, but I feel a lot more comfortable in the Commander Pro than this wheel, simply because I've been riding it longer, I think. But I do like it. It's I think the suspension's really nice feeling. I haven't been able to compare this to a T4 or a Master or any of the previous suspensions, but I think they got the geometry pretty nicely sorted with this wheel, because to me it just feels good. It's a, you know, dare I say, plush if you don't pump it up all the way. It feels real nice. But I've got mine up at like 275 psi right now, so it's a little firm, but I like it that way. So I haven't really had a chance to test it at higher speed, higher than 30, 33 miles an hour. But my initial thoughts are this, is like, you know, back to what I said at the beginning of the video. You could pull this wheel out of the box, put air in the shock if it's an air shock one, or if it's coil shock, you don't have to worry about it, and literally get on the wheel and ride it. That being said, what nobody has mentioned before, and I think it merits mentioning, is that the battery boxes on these are a little wide at the top, and the corner right there sticks right into your leg. I mean, right into your leg. And I'm not one to squeeze the wheel, but with the fairing system that I ordered, I think that's going to resolve that completely. I will let you know, but just be aware that that there are some edges up there at the top that are a little uncomfortable on the leg, and the fairing system from Grizzly is supposedly going to resolve that with a more of a rounded edge. We'll see. It'll widen the wheel a little bit, but I think it'd be worth it if it means no pain in my leg. Well, folks, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch my video and stick it out to the end. I look forward to producing more content with this wheel, especially once I can get the side pads on there that would make me feel comfortable going a little faster. I do think it's a great wheel. I think Begode did a good job with this wheel, and I am looking forward to seeing what others think about it as well. Thanks for taking the time to roll with me. We'll catch you next time.